So several months ago, I made a video on 10 lost Pokemon we will probably never see, talking about Pokemon that have been implied to have existed or should have existed for one reason or another, but for one reason or another they never came to be and were lost to Pokemon history as Pokemon that almost but never were. Well, not only did I really enjoy making that video, but you guys really liked it too, because it is currently my second most viewed video on the channel, even though it's only been up for a few months. So, because everyone seemed to like the topic so much, I decided I would dig around and see if I could find any more lost Pokemon that we will probably never see to talk about in a part 2. And thankfully, with a little bit of help from Pokemon Sword and Shield, I was able to do just that. In this video, we are going to be talking about 5 more Pokemon that either existed at one point within the Pokemon world's lore, or are implied to have existed, or something along those lines, but for one reason or another, we have not seen them become an official Pokemon, and most likely, for one reason or another, we probably never will. That is basically the gist of the video though, so if all of that sounds good to you guys, why don't we go ahead and get started. The first hypothetical Pokemon we're going to be talking about here comes brand new right out of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and that would be the mysterious dragon-like creature that is depicted on Runerigus' tablet. Runerigus, as you may know, is a Pokemon who is basically a spirit that haunts an old stone tablet, and depicted on this old stone tablet is a mysterious dragon-like creature. Now, other than it being home to the new Galar Pokemon Runerigus, there is absolutely no detail for this creature whatsoever, and if it even is an actual Pokemon at all. With that being said though, if it is within the world of Pokemon and it looks like a Pokemon, then it's probably a Pokemon, which leads me to believe that this stone tablet and this dragon creature is depicting some kind of dragon Pokemon that we may or may not have even ever seen before. Given that the picture of this dragon is ancient according to Runerigus' Pokedex entries, this is very likely a cave painting type of scenario where the person who drew it was someone from the ancient past and they were drawing it because of a creature that they saw within that specific time and place. And given, like I said, that it's most likely a Pokemon of some kind, it very well could be a Pokemon of the distant past that maybe went extinct for one reason or another, or maybe it still does exist but we do not know about it because it has yet to be discovered within the modern Pokemon world. There are a lot of possibilities for this picture despite knowing nothing about the creature it depicts, and even though we will probably never find out for sure, I would certainly love to find out someday. For this next one, we're actually going to backtrack to Generation 7 for a second and talk about some Ultra Beasts. And the Ultra Beasts I would like to talk about today are the other Ultra Beast starters that would naturally go along with Poipole. According to its Pokedex entries, Poipole is essentially a starter Pokemon in the world where it is from, and this is solidified even further by the fact that it is the only Ultra Beast that is capable of evolving as starter Pokemon normally do. But after thinking about this Pokemon for a while, I actually came to a really interesting question. If Poipole is essentially a starter Pokemon in the world it is from, then who are the other 2 starter Pokemon that would naturally sit alongside Poipole? The fact that Poipole's Pokedex entry actually implies that it is a starter Pokemon in its own world actually has a lot of other implications in and of itself. Because if there are starter Pokemon in the world that Poipole is from, that would naturally mean there are Pokemon trainers, and if there are Pokemon trainers, that would also naturally mean that there is most likely a Pokemon League or gym system of some kind. And if all of these parallels to our own Pokemon world that we know can be implied from this one simple statement, then it can also be implied that along with Poipole, there are also most likely 2 other starter Pokemon that new Pokemon trainers from Poipole's world have to choose from when beginning their own Pokemon journey. And with that said, I want to know who they are. Who the heck are these other starter Ultra Beast Pokemon that are implied to exist essentially, but obviously we have not seen? This is way more of a speculative type of pick than some of the others in this video and the last video, but I think you guys get what I'm going for here. With all of the evidence surrounding Poipole and its Pokédex entry and its status as a starter Pokemon, that would obviously imply there are more starter Pokemon to be had. And when it comes to starter Pokemon from another world no less, it naturally makes you wonder what exactly they could be, especially when compared to a Pokemon like Poipole. Because of Poipole's poison typing, you could hypothetically say that one could be a ground type and another could be a grass type to make up some kind of type triangle like we see with the grass, water, and fire starters. But obviously that is just a guess, and that is really the only thing that we can estimate about them specifically because, like I said, this is a more speculative type of pick. Nevertheless though, it definitely gets you thinking at the same time and is definitely fascinating for sure. Up next is actually a set of Pokemon that not only definitely absolutely existed at some point within the Pokemon world, but we've actually talked about them before on the channel, and that would be the true forms of the Galar fossil Pokemon. Now, as I said, I've talked about these guys in their own dedicated video, so I will keep this somewhat brief, but basically the Galar fossil Pokemon are brought back to life in a unique way compared to other fossil Pokemon, because they are brought back to life using two halves of two completely different fossils, hence why they look like such monstrosities. But because of the way these fossil Pokemon were created, putting two different halves of two different fossils together, that does imply that if you were to put two halves of the same fossil together, you would get the true form for all of these Pokemon: the dino, the drake, the fish, and the bird. Now, there is no doubt whatsoever that these Pokemon absolutely existed at one point in time, but their chance at resurrection was thwarted thanks to the intelligence, or lack thereof, of one resident fossil scientist. And as much as I would like to see these Pokemon put back together the right way, it is almost guaranteed that it is just not going to happen, because if it was going to happen, it would have to happen in this generation since these Pokemon are Galar region Pokemon. But because we already have fossil Pokemon in the fossil monstrosities, and bringing back their true forms would kind of overshadow them in a way, it's just not something that is feasible or reasonable to expect at all. And that really sucks, because as much as I love the concept and inspiration behind the fossil Pokemon that we got, I definitely would love to know what they actually looked like in the distant past in their true forms. Moving on though, we now have a much more classic inclusion, and that would be a hypothetical evolution of Jinx. Now, even though there isn't really any evidence of a Jinx evolution happening within the games or anything like that, it is fairly likely that a Jinx evolution was considered at least at one point in time by Game Freak. This is because Jinx, along with Magmar and Electabuzz, formed a trio of sorts in the Generation 1 Pokédex, and this was pretty much cemented when all of these Pokemon got pre-evolutions in Generation 2 in Smoochum, Magby, and Elekid. Furthermore, this trio was cemented even further when in Generation 4, they all got evolutions as well. Magmar into Magmortar, Electabuzz into Electivire, and Jinx into... oh wait, yeah, Jinx didn't get an evolution in Generation 4. It does seem rather odd that one of these Pokemon who have literally been tied at the hip since the franchise began would get the short end of the stick in Generation 4, but if we consider everything we know about Pokemon up until that point, it starts to make a lot more sense why Jinx was excluded and why it's pretty likely that Jinx was considered for an evolution along with Magmar and Electabuzz at one point. And that reason would be the racist implications that Jinx has been known for pretty much since it was introduced as a Pokemon. Pretty much ever since Jinx was introduced into the franchise, people have been accusing it of it being a depiction of the racist blackface stereotype. So much so, in fact, that Game Freak actually had to change its design from having a black face to having a purple face. Game Freak was able to slip by these accusations during the development of Generation 2 when they included a pre-evolution to Jinx in Smoochum, but by the time Generation 1 was in full swing and these accusations actually started to come about, Game Freak knew that they had to take this seriously, and as such, not only did they change Jinx's design, but they severely limited Jinx's inclusion in any further material, games, anime, or otherwise, past that. And honestly, if I had to put my money on it, I would say that that was the primary factor in why Jinx did not get an evolution in Generation 4, but Magmar and Electabuzz did. And to finish off the video, we're going to end with one of the most interesting ones on this list, and that would be the prehistoric, most likely part water type, Droopy. Droopy, as well as the rest of its line, are the pseudo-legendary Pokemon of Generation 8, and they are absolutely fantastic, but one of the interesting things about them is that they were not always Ghost-type as they appear in the games. According to Droopy's Pokemon Sword Dex entry, it says that it was reborn as a Ghost-type Pokemon, and it wanders the areas that it used to live in back when it lived in the ancient past in prehistoric seas. Because of this revelation, we can definitely say that originally Droopy was not Ghost type, and can most likely say that it was part water type instead because of the fact that it lived in prehistoric seas, and because of the fact that it, as well as its line, are based on the Diplocalus, which is an ancient, extinct type of amphibian. Design-wise, it probably wouldn't have changed too much from the way it was then to the way it is now, but type-wise, going from Dragon Ghost to Dragon Water originally is definitely a big change for sure, and adds a lot of character and backstory to this already phenomenal Pokemon. However, as is the theme of this video, as cool as it would be to be able to see Droopy in its true form as most likely a Dragon Water type, we most likely never will, simply because there is no reason whatsoever for Game Freak to explore this part of Droopy's design in any future installment, so we are just gonna have to live with the Dragon Ghost version of this Pokemon, who is still pretty fantastic either way. And there we have it, everybody. Those were 5 more lost Pokemon we will probably never see. Now, if you liked this video and you want more, but have not seen the first video, definitely go check that out with the iCard at the top right corner of the screen. And if you liked this video, be sure to give it a like and let me know your thoughts about all these Pokemon in the comments below. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content all the time, and if you would like to support me further, you can do so by checking me out on Spotify and listening to my Pokemon remixes, and you can also check out my Pokemon Cardinal project if you have not seen that yet either. With that being said, I'll be back on Tuesday with another video, so be sure to hit that notification bell so you can know as soon as it goes live, and with all that being said, I love you guys very much, and until then, as always, I will smell you guys later.